Since its establishment in 1883, the Caller Times seemed to be the most despised communication medium in Corpus Christi, Texas, among Latinos. For over 125 years, the Caller had built a solid reputation of elitism and racism because of its blatantly discriminatory practices both in print and through their actions. Even though Corpus Christi is the birthplace of two civil rights organizations, the National League of United Latin American Citizens and the National American GI Forum, the Caller's delivery of news exacerbated the socioeconomic and racist oppression in our area. Even when these civil rights organizations and leaders in the Latino community led a march in front of the Caller building and called for a boycott at near the turn of the century to bring attention to their divisive practices, the Caller Times did little more than raise an eyebrow. So, in 2005, enter Kevin Olivas, Parity Project Director of the National Association of Hispanic Journalists, Patrick Birmingham, a new publisher for the Corpus Christi Caller Times, and Libby Averett, a new vice president in charge of the editorial department, who had worked herself up the ranks from reporter at the Caller Times. The first thing they did was sponsor a town hall meeting to listen to concerns from the community. They were subjected to a barrage of criticism and name-calling. Some of it was even generated by me. Instead of walking away, they listened and established the Hispanic Community Advisory Committee, and at that first meeting, they were once again subjected to heavy criticism and name-calling. We cannot erase over a century of blatant racism in just a few years. But because Patrick and Libby acknowledged the wrongs of the past during our advisory meetings, we were able to begin the healing. We forged lines of communication and relationships with honest, difficult, and heart-wrenching conversations, because we knew that although we could not change the past, we could impact the future for our children in Corpus Christi, so there would be no need for them to deal with these issues in the century to come. So, 5 years later, what is the state of the Caller Parity Project? Well, a few months ago, Patrick and Libby moved on to different phases in their careers. Patrick is now president and publisher of the Knoxville News Sentinel in Tennessee, and Libby is the vice president of advertising here at the Corpus Christi Caller Times. My respect and admiration for these leaders are deeply rooted in my soul, and I will always be indebted to their resolve, to their passion in making the Caller Times a better newspaper and making this community a better place to live. Most importantly, I want to publicly thank them for bridging relationships in the community at large. Their work has been a catalyst in the creation of a new community-based initiative called Operation Right Track that is intended to support law enforcement and to promote partnerships that foster a safe and more value-based Corpus Christi. Their legacy continues. Patrick and Libby, desde el fondo de mi corazón, les doy mis más humildes y sinceras gracias. Que Dios los bendiga siempre. We are now working with publisher Daryl Coleman and vice president and editor Shane Fitzgerald, who have expressed their commitment to the Corpus Christi Parity Project. Together with them and the remaining original members of the committee, Linda Benavides, Vicente Carranza, Rosanna Garza, and me, along with others who have participated and current members, I am proudly declaring the Parity Project in Corpus Christi a huge success. This declaration comes from my perception, by my work, from my hard work, and by a content audit research study conducted by Kingsville Communication and Theater Arts Department Chair Dr. Manuel Flores and a group of his graduate students for the National Association of Hispanic Journalists. According to the study, between 2003 and 2007, the number of stories on Hispanics perpetrating or being victims of crime featured on the front page decreased from 203 to 130 articles. Additionally, the coverage of Hispanics in education increased from 51 stories to 124 stories. Between 2006 and 2007, the percentage of stories about Hispanics on the front page increased from a low of 21.3% when the project started to over 40% after the project began. Those of us who serve on the advisory committee serve the community in varied nonprofit organizations, and this is the first time we actually know, with solid evidence, that our volunteer participation has made a difference. We are most proud of this accomplishment. The Parity Project in Corpus Christi is still in its infancy. We have a long way to go before we declare victory with the Corpus Christi Caller-Times. We are experiencing growing pains during this transition with our new partners, but Shane and Daryl are doing their utmost to make things right. Also, the failing economy makes it difficult to hire Latino news reporters in our area because they are offered higher salaries in other markets across the nation. So, in our lifetime, we may never reach that pinnacle of true equity, but during our lifetime, we will never surrender hope. We are most appreciative to the National Association of Hispanic Journalists and the Parity Project, and Kevin Olivas. NAHJ has given us the tools and the support to help our community heal. Corpus Christi is the flagship for the nation in this regard, and for their unyielding support, the National Association of Hispanic Journalists and the Parity Project, and of course, Kevin Olivas, will always have a home in Corpus Christi, Texas.